I talk to a spirit. She comes in my dreams.
What is the path to awakening supposed to look like? To feel like? How do you know if you are on it? We ask these very sacred and sometimes vulnerable questions to many different women from all walks of life. A conversation that needs to be shared and heard. I'm Jo Hendy.
I'm Amanda Parker.
And welcome to the Girl Awakening podcast.
Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, sunshine. It is a very power-orientated day today in all the right ways.
It is. And we are in 2025 and it's all just moving so fast and we love it.
Yes,
Yeah.
Intentionality is the key word, or one of the many keywords that we're creating.
And authenticity.
Our words. And I think our guest today actually has two words that she's going to share with us. So anyway, let's introduce our beautiful guest today, Erika, the confidence queen. From a challenging past marked by trauma, abuse and foster care, to joining the US Army as a teenager and facing life-altering adversities like breaking her back and early widowhood, Erika Cramer has journeyed through monumental struggles. Today, she is renowned as the Queen of Confidence, a global leader in the world of confidence coaching, empowering women worldwide to reclaim their lives. She is on a dedicated mission to support as many women as possible in healing their past, reclaiming their power and creating the life of their dreams.
Right up our alley.
Yeah,
Gorgeous lady. How are you today?
I'm so grateful to be with you, ladies. Thank you so much. And thank you to those listening.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time. We know you've just launched a beautiful book, Becoming Magnetic, your second book. Yeah. Which we know how busy you are, and we've grabbed you at a very
pivotal moment.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and I'm so grateful that I get to share it and be in this energy with you, because it is very magnetic, to share something and to talk about it with others. It's nice. So thank you for helping me amplify it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
So, Erika, how did your awakening begin?
Oh gosh, well, it's my husband's fault. My shamanic husband, who is incredible. And I think it began with darkness, like most people's, and not knowing that you were awakened. I really felt, I just had a very, as you have shared, a traumatic upbringing, and it just trauma and chaos followed me. And it's crazy because in my human design, it's all about chaos and it's all about trauma and it's all about, like overcoming chaos. And I'm like, yeah, that's still it. So yeah, it was very hectic. And I came to Australia, which was my land of healing. It really has been the land where I've healed, and it has a very special place for me in my healing journey. And I was a hot mess express. I was drinking a lot. I was just a disaster. And Hamish I used to call him Gandhi. He was my, like Gandhi says, be the change you wish to see. He was just being the change. And I escaped America thinking that my shit wouldn't follow me across the Pacific Ocean. Listen to me, I didn't pack any of it, but it was like, oh, come, let's go. We're going down under with all my stuff. Just followed me. And I tried to escape it and run away. And maybe somebody listening is resonating with like, leave that job. But then you go to another job and it's the same energy, different face.
Yeah.
And so I kept trying to run away. And when I met Hamish, he was my personal trainer. And I got broken up with on my birthday. Nice guy. I had come to Australia for a terrible man I met in Las Vegas, as you do.
Wow.
And then I moved. I don't know if you guys know Sydney much, but I moved from Miami to Mount Druitt. Y'all know where Mount Druitt is?
Oh yeah, we haven't had the privilege of living there, but we know about it.
So it sounds horrible.
Fantastic. They did an SBS special on this place. And listen, I'm from the hood. I'm from the ghetto where they drug deal and do all the things. I grew up on food stamps to a single mother. So I'm not scared of that. But I was just like, I didn't expect this. I didn't know that Sydney was going to be this. So that was not good. And then I met another man who was just like him in Melbourne. And I moved to Melbourne for him. So when I got broken up with on my birthday, I had a real big moment in the mirror. And I feel like that was when I kind of woke up to myself. And I had judged and I had pointed the finger and I had blamed my sexual abuse. I had blamed my mom. I had blamed the world. I was an angry kid with all my trauma. And in the mirror, I looked and I saw, like, we as women look in the mirror quite a lot, but I hadn't looked, I hadn't seen myself. And I was kind of like, oh, it was this big moment where I got, you are the common denominator in the hot mess of your life. It's you against you. You've always been here. It's only you. And I just got like, you got to make amends with yourself. And I had a massive cry, a big old pity party. And then my personal trainer, Hamish, the next day I had a session with him. And he said to me, listen, I've got friends here, because I had my nail technician and my personal trainer were my only friends in Melbourne. Yay. And I'm like in a new country trying to make my life, and it just kept like failing. Everything kept going wrong. And I'm like, this was that moment. So I was turning 29. I was 29 years old. And Hamish said to me, I'm about to have my birthday, because his birthday is right after mine. And he was like, you should come to my party and I'll introduce you to my friends and you'll make some friends in Melbourne. And we got to become friendly. He was the first person I shared my whole life story to, and he didn't react like those other men. He was like, wow, you're amazing. And I'm like, what? You don't think I'm a mess, or I'm ruined or damaged? Or all these other men were like, we need to clean up your life. We need to clean up your past before you come with me to a wedding. We need to remove the one tattoo I got of my husband who passed away. I got his tattoo, his signature on my butt. And they didn't like that, because the butt is the area where they have to look. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Off to get it removed. And as I removed my husband's tattoo, I was removing his like memory as well. And it was so sad. And Hamish was like, babe, that was your past. Don't remove that. You were a model. You were in bikinis. You were in the army. You were married. Like, that's your life. Like, that makes you you. And so he was just amazing. And we tried to get together, and I would get drunk and I would flash my vagina at someone on stage at some club. And then I would almost get arrested trying to fight somebody at a bar. And then I would throw up and I would throw plates. And he was like, okay. And then I would be like, I'm so sorry. And he'd be like, it's okay. And then I would go to therapy, and then I would go see my shamanic healer and my coach, my clairvoyant, and then come back and do the same thing. And so he was Gandhi. He was being the change. He never said, you should read Byron Katie. You should do the work. You need to put sage stick up your butt. Like, you're just a hot mess. He never said that. He was just the example. And it was because of his example that I went, all right, you are so calm. You are so centered. Talk to me. What is the universe? What are you talking about? What do you mean? Tell me more. And he told me, and I listened, and it was crazy. 12 months later, I was a totally different person. And he was kind of like, whoa, slow down. You're leaving me behind. And then he had to run. And now we're just obsessed and do work and all of this. And it saved my life. Hamish saved my life, like, genuinely.
Wow. That's the most beautiful love story ever, because it's that's so gorgeous. And I love how when someone is able to be centered in herself and hold space, and you're orbiting around like this like crazy planet, and then eventually your orbit just comes around and goes, and then connection, and then it's just gorgeous the way energy works that way. So.
And it was good to him, because he I did the work, yes, but he could have just run. And I said to him many times, you should have run, because I was a mess. But and now I talk to women that are like, my husband doesn't want to do the work, or my wife doesn't want to do the work. And you can't shove it down someone's throat. I wasn't ready to hear it until I was ready. I had that moment in the mirror by myself. It was my own awakening of like, whoa, okay, it doesn't work what you've been doing, blaming the world. It doesn't work running away. It doesn't work coming to another country. What's going to work? Okay, let's make amends. And so I think that it's really hard to be with someone who's not interested, and you're ready and they're not ready. And so we've had discussions, like I was in this weird relationship with this guy who culturally wanted to turn me into Princess Jasmine in Melbourne. And culturally they were like religious in a way. And so I didn't grow up religious at all. And I believe in everything now. I believe in everything. I believe in spirit. I believe in everything. And so I was this like princess. So I started going to Bible study and learning about Bibles and this and that. And then I met Hamish, who was a Catholic kid. He was Catholic his whole life, but he had found, his work and his shamanic work. And so when I met him, I was like, what do you mean about the universe? And he was like, whoa, what are you talking about? Church and Bibles? I don't understand. So we almost didn't work because we weren't aligned. And so we had to have a lot of conversations, and I had to show him that I was ready to change, not just say I'm doing the work, because a lot of people say it. I had to mess up and apologize and go back to my sessions with my therapist and my clairvoyant. And I was ready. And so I really give it up to his patience. And many of us aren't patient. We're ready, and the person we love isn't. and you can't do it until they're ready. Like they have to be ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you just, I guess, would you say like there's a part of you that's tapping into the energy of, I want this. If I really want it, I've just got to be patient. I've got to be compassionate. I've got to have understanding and empathy here for this to work somehow. And you're trusting the energy, you're trusting that there's some kind of chemistry here. Is that
Yeah. Well, I think what was crazy, his clairvoyant coach that he had, she was very logical and very spiritual. So she had the actions and the logic and the coach, but then she also had the spirit, and it worked really well for him. So he was working with her, and I met her once and I didn't know her, and I met her at the gym and I was like, what do you do? I just walked up to her. So she was magnetic. She had something about her. She never sold me. She never tried to get me in. I went up to her and then I just started crying. And she was like, oh, darling. And then she gave me a hug and I was like, I need to meet with this lady. So Hamish didn't go, you need to meet with this lady. I met with her. And the first session we had, she took me to my husband's death, the thing that I was running from, Gio's death. First session, she was like, hi, welcome. Let's go there. And I just lost my mind. I started crying. It was like, oh, that heaviness that I was carrying got to at least be cracked open and released a bit, and my heart chakra, she's like, your heart is closed. Your throat is open, but your heart is closed. And you really need to do the work on opening your heart again. And so I had that session with her, and she was very witchy. So when she met Hamish, she said to him, you need to find love again, all this stuff. So Hamish had a vision. He did this session. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Land of Plenty. It's like a Native American shamanic session where you go to your land of plenty. And so she took him into this session. And in his land of plenty was a woman with black hair who spoke another language, and they had 2 babies, and they were on the beach in Sydney, right? And a week later, I walk into his gym, and I had just moved to Melbourne. And my gym was across from my job and across from my office, his gym. And I had broken my back. He was a rehab trainer. He was the only rehab trainer. And they were like, you need to see the rehab trainer. So I'm like, the universe is hilarious. Yeah. So I walk in and he's like, holy shit, that's the lady from my vision. So he's like, yep. And I sign up to, I don't even see Hamish. It's like his eyes are covered.
Yes.
I don't see, he is handsome, Sri Lankan brown man with beautiful yellow eyes. Yeah. I swear to God, I couldn't see him. I was in that relationship with that guy and I was trying to be Princess Jasmine. So I had this like tunnel vision. I was scared to look at anyone and I couldn't see Hamish. I was just like, this is a guy who's brown and he wants to do personal training and he seems good, whatever. Yeah. And so I walk out and he puts me in his phone as Erika Wifey, like as a joke, right? As a joke. I'm still in his phone, Erika air quotes wifey, because all his trainers were like, oh, that's going to be your wifey. And he's like, that's the lady, like the lady from my vision. So he calls his coach and he's like, you won't believe the lady from my vision. I feel like she's the lady. She just walked into the gym and I just signed up to one-on-one to whatever training. And his coach said to him, there's energy there. And he's like, no, she has a boyfriend. She's moved here to be with her boyfriend. There's energy there, Hamish. He's like, whatever, hangs up the phone. And then when Roy broke up with me, I'm at the food court at the Doncaster shopping center and I see Hamish and he's like, hey. And I'm like, hi, I need to do more sessions with you because I'm a sad woman watching Eat, Pray, Love and eating ice cream. And I'm only doing 2 a week. Can we do 3? He's like, sure. I'm like, great. And then she's like, I'm telling you, there's energy there. He's like, shut up. It's not her. It's just someone like her. He thought it was like, you're someone like, that's what I want. Someone like her, but not her. And then obviously we got together and it was one night. She kept texting him, you better tell her that you like her. You better tell her that you like her. 3 months into it, he's about to go to Brazil for 4 weeks for some capoeira, like martial arts. Worst place you want your new boyfriend to go, Brazil, by the way.
Yeah. So many.
You're like, damn, is Giselle there? Or are there a bunch of Giselles? So I'm like out with him and he takes me outside of this club and he's like, I have to talk to you. And I'm like, yes. And we're just being nice. We're not like, he doesn't know I like him. I have no idea he likes me. And he said to me, I can't be your friend anymore. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because I like you. And I was like, oh, I like you too. It was so juvenile. And then we gave each other a hug and a kiss. Literally 3 days, twin flame shit. Like 3 days of us together. I don't know what day it was, what night it was. He stayed at my house. It was so, like, it gives me chills. It was such a world. I've never felt that in my life. And then he goes to Brazil for 4 weeks.
Wow.
And then he comes back and he moves in. We get engaged. We get married. We have babies. And literally, I'm the black hair lady that speaks Spanish. We have 2 kids.
Wow.
And it was, honestly, I would never have thought that was all his visions because I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. It is crazy.
Magic happens,
I
magic happens. It's just, you know, divine love.
We hear, like in this podcast, we hear a lot of different stories, and a lot around that, but nothing so bam, bam, thank you, Matt. It's like real quick like that. It's like,
what do you mean you manifested me? And then I saw him, and then his eye, and I'm like, whoa, I like this guy. Weird.
It's so beautiful.
Gorgeous.
One of our questions is, you know, when you start to awaken and when you start to realize that there's, you know, energy at play other than the physical, what type of things are happening for you and around you? And like we know, for instance, that was one thing that was happening for you. But did you notice any other things happening around you? We know that you are big on the manifesting stage. Let's just go back a few years when you weren't aware of that. You know, what type of things were happening that were making you go, oh wow, what is this?
Yeah, I was listening a lot to Wayne Dyer because I worked at a toxic place at the time. I fucking love him.
Yeah.
God, he's just like, oh, I love you.
He's like a dad. He's like the dad we all.
He's like the dad. Yeah, and he has like 8 kids, doesn't he? We can all have kids.
It's such a heart person. It's just
Yeah. And so he really helped me with my anger. I felt like I had a lot of anger from my childhood, and so I would listen to him at work, and I was in this environment that we would call toxic, right? But they were lovely people. They just had pain, and the place didn't feel great. And so I felt like this beam of light and joyous walking stick, you know, a glow stick in this kind of place that was black and white, and I was full of color. And it was only because I'd be working and have him here, and these ladies would be bitching about work and things, who knows what, just dark clouds over there, and I'm like beaming, right? And so I noticed that the beaming and the happiness and the magnetism back then, wouldn't know what that was called, but I had this. And so people would come up to me and I would talk to people, and I would get sent on these missions to go to different salons because I was working in the hair industry. And it was like I was getting to share the magnetic energy with them. And like people were off and their lights were off. And I was like, let me just turn on the light. Let me amplify. Let's defibrillate you because you're dead. Let's do the, you know, just like, it was like if you could give electricity to someone and someone's like, oh, hi, good morning, I'm here. And the other person, you're like, the light's off. It's not even plugged in, you know? And it was just like, I had this ability to go plug people in and turn people's lights on, and it lit me up because I don't know, it was just really nice. And so I felt that. I also got, me and Hamish would be out, and we had just got together, but we'd be out at a restaurant. No one's in the restaurant. And then 10 minutes later, we look around, the whole restaurant's full, and people are coming up to us going, oh, you guys are a lovely couple. How long have you been married for? And we'd be like, we just, you know, or we'd be at a nightclub and we'd start dancing. The dance floor would be empty. In Australia, we get shy here. In America, everybody's dancing. So I'd go on the floor and be like, you come on, you want to dance? Come on, and grab people. And 2 minutes later, the freaking floor would be like, and we would just walk away and be like, we did that. That was awesome. And we like party start, you know? So I just felt that other people's energy was mixing with ours. And a lot of people didn't have theirs turned up and they wanted to. And so we had this beautiful thing where we could connect with other people. Opportunities. I could not escape the media, meaning like some kind of spotlight, I started doing styling. And I got on the cover of this thing, and then I was on Sunrise, and then I got all this media for stylists, and my boss was like, why are you on TV? You're meant to be working here. And I was like, that was on the weekend. It wasn't out to work time, but like I started getting, and I had my media stuff in America when I was modeling. And like, so the media, like, I feel like the things you're supposed to do chase you until you even out of industry. Right. And so that was happening. And I'm like, whoa. And women were coming to me looking for styling advice. I was not a stylist, but I dressed really nicely and I wanted to look good. And then that business exploded, and I'm like, okay, I'm a stylist now and a hairdresser, and, you know, and so I just felt like opportunities were coming to me knocking, and I was able to see them and able to open the door, versus before it felt like there was no door, there was no opportunity, there was darkness, you know?
Yeah, that's so beautiful, because I know here in Australia, we, for women, we can only speak for women, but and from America, when you look at America has this beautiful way where they embrace each other and they lift each other up. They speak really beautifully, and they inspire each other.
Of course, you can do this.
You got this, girl.
For some reason, we just don't have that that ability. I don't even know
we have that
is.
tall poppy kind of scenario. Of like,
there's someone flying and smashing it and going for it and doing amazing things. We tend to have this feeling of, you know, because we can't feel it or see it in ourselves, that why should they have it, kind of thing, instead of embracing it, you know, and seeing and hearing you and just being in your space now. It's just such a beautiful energy. I can feel that, in me. And it's like, you know, you just want to pick that, and it's like something that for women and girls in Australia, we could definitely use more of that.
Yeah, thank you. I love, I'm grateful that I'm here. And it's like, you think no mistake. Like, how do you, I mean, I didn't even know where this was. When I met this man in Las Vegas, I thought he said Austria. And I'm like, he sounds like he's from the UK. That's what Americans think about the Aussie accent. We're like, we don't know, you know? And so I just came here not knowing. And now to see that this work that I do get to do is definitely needed here. But also I think it's such a great, I mean, we spread viruses, but like, can we spread love? Can we spread like, you go girl? Like, I do miss the Americans that will see you walking and go, oh my God, I love your dress with the sun on it. Oh, your hair is amazing. Like, they'll just stop you in the street and compliment you and walk away. And they don't need you to compliment them back. And like, for no reason, nobody's getting paid to do that. It's not like people say the tip culture, and maybe the tip culture created it, but then that bled into everything that we do, like good morning in the elevator, or like all of that. And so I think Gandhi, right? Like, if it doesn't happen here, I'll do it. If you don't say good morning to me, I'm going to say good morning to you. Like, I notice in Australia, we don't say excuse me. And it's so frustrating because people would just try to squeeze by you. And you're just like, hi, do you want to get through? Yes. Sorry. I'm like, don't say sorry. I know you're there. Like, I don't have eyes on the back of my head, but you can feel a human trying to squeeze by you in the shopping center. And you're just like, I will part the sea for you if you just say, excuse me. So like, it's a thing that we don't get taught. And so I think we can teach our kids to be tall. You know, I think we can teach our young girls to shine and to compliment others. And so I try as hard as I can when I speak to Australian audiences to be like, say good morning to someone, compliment their outfit, like go up to people. I actually have an exercise. I make people get up and go find a stranger and say something nice to them and feel how weird it is to take a compliment as well. You know, like,
absolutely. Well, there's a lack of connection in that, you know, in itself, and a big void of separate. There's a whole separation in there. When even the part about not saying excuse me, it's like being scared to actually connect and be with somebody.
Interesting, isn't it? Do you reckon it's like a UK influence?
Yeah, I think it might be because they're quite cold.
Yeah, I heard about them. I'm scared to go speak there because I'm like,
I don't mean that. I just, it's,
I know, but it is a bit stiff.
It's a bit stiff in the environment and the weather and everything. And I think that has that same that weaves through it. But they are beautiful people. But I think there is that lack of connecting or connection with.
Yeah, it's much more like there's something in between versus Americans are probably too much in your face.
It's interesting.
And it's like, whoa. Yeah.
We need to meld the two together.
It could even be that thing where it's a bit about survival skills as well as, you know, like, I don't know, or, you know, survival over the weakest kind of thing. Like, if I let you know here, I might be going to be weaker than you because then you'll engage and allow me to do something. It's like there's a, you know, I don't know, the what is it, the convicts that came to Australia originally settled Australia. It's like that, you know, that upper level and the higher level, the hierarchy of people. Like, you know, I'm not less than you. If I don't acknowledge you, I can control my power over you and just
totally. Yeah, and that's a thing. That's a thing. But that's what they say up in the UK as well, that there is when you think about the stiff upper lip, and I was like, what does that mean? And it's actually like, it's frowned upon or weak if you show emotion. You deal with that yourself at home, and when you're in front of people, you are straight and you are fine and you're not emotional, you're not crying. And so if you think about that, like, me and my husband went into a rabbit hole, and we don't know if this is true, but we were like, I wonder why there's so much like bad weather and they had diseases back in the day and all this stuff. And it was like, didn't they become the colonizers of the whole world? Isn't that where that came from? Didn't that become like, wasn't it from British, like UK area? And like, is that a karmatic? I don't know. But like, I think about that, like, fuck, you know, like, it's karma, man. Like, you know, like there's certain things that happen and certain ways of being. And I think that's what's good about doing the work, where you can decide, you know, I really despised meaning for a long time. One of the first things I lost in my work when I worked with my therapist and my clairvoyant and my coaches were like meaning. Like, I made meaning about everything. And now I have no meaning. So yes, I have a human design manifesting generator 4/6. Yes, I'm a Gemini. Yes, I'm a blah, blah, blah. But then I'm also like, I'm nothing as well. Like I don't want to be in a box because there's so much about my human design that's not true. And there's so much about Gemini that I've learned that's not true. And, you know, like when I had my kids, my son would be screaming in the car. He didn't like the car rides. And I would go, okay, if I was an alien and I heard that sound, what is that sound? It annoys me as a mother. It's so frustrating when you're like tired and you're like, shut up, please. Shut up. But then I'm like, I'm an alien. What's that sound? I'm curious. How interesting, that scream, or is it a scream, or what is it? So I really feel like the more we do this work and awaken and do this work on ourselves, we don't allow the labels and the meanings and the boxes to mean anything. And you can be very, very fluid with how you feel in the moment, and you can make choices to how you want to respond, not based off of, well, that's your imprint, so you have to always be that way, or because you're from the UK, that means that, or because you're a woman, that means this. It's like, I don't like to play that game anymore. Now I feel kind of like, what if I was adopted and my mom said I was born in June, but I was really born in July and I'm a Cancer. I don't think I'm a Cancer, but you know, like, how do we know? And so I like that curiosity instead of the rigidness that kind of comes with this work.
Curiosity is an amazing expansion, you know, when you move into that space, and it allows you to be free around anything that comes into your field. And if you're working with the energy, then so much can come into your field that is meant for you.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I just thought of Eckhart Tolle used to always say labeling limits us in anything. Like when we see a flower, we want to name it and we want to work it. And it's like, no, as soon as we do that, we've actually
totally
lost
like how beautiful
what it is.
Speaking about energy, Erika, like I've noticed that your color theme is you have like a lot of you, like there's pink, but it's, you know, all different shades of pink. I just adore
coffee cup.
I adore it. Like it's a beautiful frequency. Like look at you, girl.
It's crazy. I know. Well, I used to hate pink. It was the color I hated. It made me I'm gonna say something vulgar, but it reminded me of like soft. You're a pussy, you're soft. That's what it felt like. It felt like, it actually is the color of our vaginas, but anyway, I was like, you know, like, you are soft and yuck. It's like, it was like black, like my soul. Black was my color. That was it. And then as I started doing that work for those 8 years, and I'm still doing it, so you're never healed, but started doing that work of unraveling and letting go and crying and shedding. And for 8 years, I didn't help anyone else. I was not trying to be a coach. I was not trying to do anything. A lot of these young people now, they start working on themselves, and 6 months in, they're like, I'm going to be a life coach. I'm like, girl, please. Can you just keep working on all that shit that you have not even scratched the surface on? Thanks so much. Okay. Because, and I'm happy. I don't even know how. I didn't care about people. That's why I didn't care about anyone. I didn't love myself. So never mind me giving a shit about a woman trying to level up. So 8 years. And in those 8 years, I started to get closer to, I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. Hot pink. And then hot pink was how it started. And it felt like I was 25 with long hair extensions and fake boobs. Hot pink. I was. And that was it. And then I'm like, rebrand. Hold on. We need like a blushy pink. It was never baby pink because, again, too soft. And then we did some work around the color. Actually, we did a lot of work with a brand strategist around colors and what they mean and different Pantone shades. And then we kind of surveyed our audience of like which color feels. And to me, hot pink feels young. And then the light baby pink felt apologetic. And so we really found this kind of like blush mid color where we could play on either scale. And then now I look, and pink is about confidence and self-love. And I'm like, what? Like the rose quartz is literally the work I do, and no plan for that. That happened. That was like synchronicity.
Unconditional divine love.
Oh, nice.
It's beautiful.
So we're both like bursting with it.
Like
so when you were talking before around, because coming back to like Wayne Dwyer and being angry, and that light and that magnetism that started to happen as you let go of the anger and out of the shadows and things, and then you know you and Hamish, I guess, magnifying even again the magnetic energy that is between you as well as each of you. How do you kind of like sit with that now, like as far as like you've just written a book around becoming magnetic, like is this where you sit around energy being magnetic and intention and how you choose to, because I'm listening to you and I love the way you're weaving through your spirituality and the energy work, also branding and self awareness of self and what you want to present out into the world.
Yeah. Well, I think I heard Tony Robbins and Joe Dispenza a long time ago, both on different occasions, say that they never put their personal religion or dharma or spirituality on their work because they want people to do their work. And I'll tell you, ladies, that hit me. Like, you know, when you hear certain things and you're like, whoa, it hit me and it painted like the wallpaper in my house, in my heart. It was like, that's true for me. And so I believe that I'm here to impact millions of women and global like mass. So that means all the women, especially the ones in the corners that can't afford to do work, especially the women in marginalized communities where I grew up, women of color, everyday women, if you will, like that kind of energy. And so when I think about Tony Robbins, who I look up to a lot, I can't tell you what his spirit is and his religion is and his thing is. And I like that because it's none of my business. His work is so important for humanity to do, especially those with limiting beliefs and they hold themselves back. And so if he enters, well, I think this and here's my opinion and blah, 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 and I believe this and you should go that way and you should believe this, people will instantly repel, move away, not only from him, but from the work that he's here to do that is changing the world. And so I personally don't put in my, like I barely talk about my beliefs or spirituality or religion or anything like that, because I feel like I'm the bridge. I'm here for the human to be a bridge, and then I'll lead you on the bridge. And if on that bridge you decide you want to go shamanic, you want to do ayahuasca, you want to become a priest, you want to leave your husband, many women do, you want to become a lesbian or become, that's on you. But I want to be the bridge to take you from asleep and unaware to, oh, awareness, oh, thoughts, oh, feelings, oh, shit, what? And then questioning everything, even what I say, and then you question and then you decide your path. And so I try not to not talk about it, but it doesn't matter my, you know, if I believe in Buddha or if I believe in Jesus or Muhammad or whatever. So I keep my stuff in myself. And then when I have moments of at my retreat with Hamish, the retreat that we do, that is a fully shamanic, drumming, emotional release, traumatic healing retreat. And it is weird and crazy and strange and unexplainable. And I love it. Yeah. And we amplify everything in there, but it's a safe container for 5 days, 10 women, you know, there's a lot of crazy stuff that y'all would love that happens there, but that happens there. And it's like, you get to know about that when you come to that. And that's an initiation in itself. So when I created the Becoming Magnetic, I originally was writing a book called Show Up, Stand Up, Speak Up. It was not Becoming Magnetic. And in the book, I wanted to talk about magnetism as a micro skill. Like you can become a magnetic woman and attract what you want and repel what you don't. And the publisher was like, what is that part? And I was like, oh, and she's like, oh, that is amazing. And she herself was like, I think you need to write about that. And I was like, well, hold on. I had to check in. Like, was she trying to take the book or what are we doing? Do I want to write about this? And so I had to go deep into, am I magnetic? What do I think about magnetism? Hold on. It took me some time. When they gave me the go ahead to write, it took a month for me to sit with it and really think about it. And I went through all these stories of my life and my upbringing and my parents and even though I grew up in foster care and I was sexually abused and kidnapped and all this horrible stuff happened, I had this mom who, when she would be out of the mental hospital, when she would be on her medication and she was good, and when she would be okay, she was magnetic as hell. My mom is just like me. She'd be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. She talks to everyone. She is the connector of connectors. My dad is charismatic and gorgeous and looks young and loves people. And so I was like, oh my God, my imprint, even though my dad wasn't in the picture and my mom was in mental hospitals most of her life, I had this, you know, I don't know, I had this DNA of these parents and this magnetism. And as a child, I believe every child is magnetic and is a light and is high consciousness and beautiful, and the world and we, you know, get in the way of that and life happens. But I really wanted to teach women about magnetism in a way that felt practical. And what I didn't want to do was go love and light and just vague ass affirmations and put crystals in your bra and just tell yourself you love yourself and put Palo Santo in your ass and you're going to be sorted. Like, no, you got to do the work. You got to heal your shit. You got to go into your trauma. You got to cry those tears. You got to take radical responsibility. You got to break up with that relationship. You need to stop being toxic. Like, we need to do the real work in order to become magnetic. And so, yes, it's spiritual, and yes, it's energy, and yes, it's all about your frequency, which I fully talk about and believe. But what people don't do, and y'all know, they bypass, I'm just going to love myself. And it's like, but you don't. So let's talk about why you don't. And let's be real about that, because energy doesn't lie. It does not lie, you know? And so I wanted to give a practical guide and almost a FU to the just chant things and you'll love it. No, if you don't believe it, it's not coming true. There's no energy there. And so we say things we don't believe. I'm a millionaire and you have $4 in your bank account. Don't let's not do that. And so I wanted to give a practical guide, and it is all energy and it is all frequency. And so in the book, we kind of break down the phases of magnetism. And obviously the 5th phase is your aura, and everyone wants a magnetic aura. But what they don't want to do are the phases before that. And the first phase is self-mastery, which is like self-acceptance, self-reflection, self-awareness. It's the dark night of the soul. It's the healing. No one wants to do that. They just want to go straight to the aura. But if you meet me and I have a nice aura, consider it's because I've done all that work. You're meeting me at stage 5, but I've done all those stages. No one knows that. They just feel you. And so if people feel good, they're doing their work. They are in alignment with themselves. If people don't feel good and it feels fake and it feels, forced, there's a lot that hasn't been done. You know what I'm trying to say? Like that's, yeah.
It's that moment of when you looked in the mirror and had that honesty of like self-awareness. And I think we speak a little bit around when you walk down the street and people are smiling at you or acknowledging you, it's because your light's turned on. Like, you feel it. Connection.
Yeah.
And therefore your aura is, alive.
That vibe. Well, that quote is true. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Like it really does. And when it's for you, it's on its way. Like, what is it? Joe Dispenza always says, don't work out the how. Like working out the how. Like I could have never told you that I was going to marry a man from Australia who's going to be a Sri Lankan and we're going to never. But I will tell you, I know I'm going to do my Tony Robbins mission. And I use Tony Robbins because I like models. I don't want to be him. He's him. But I like what he's doing. And so I look at the model and then I go, that's the model. And there's prints of what can be done and the massive impact. And so I go, how? I have no idea. So I just got to keep doing what I do, keep believing, keep showing up, doing the work and trusting. And I promise you, here it comes. And then this opportunity comes and I'm like, cool. I'm not shocked because I'm working to make it happen, but I'm not like, where is it? When is it coming? Trust the process, trust your process. Like show up as that person.
Yeah, I just want to, because just speaking into that space of you grasping the opportunity in the moment of, like you share around how you went to an event with Richard Branson and literally when it was Q&A time, you didn't just ask a question, you walked up on stage, sat down next to him and asked the question.
I just got exercised by some Spanish spirit. It was like, hola, I don't even talk Spanish. I never do that, you guys. I don't get on stage going, hola, Australia. But I was like, okay, I don't know what came over me, but I was like, well, the energy was dead. And we were trying to, and I promise you that elevation, and it's like, is it my job? No, it wasn't my job for me to grab people from the audience and start the party. But if I'm going to be at the party, I want some people on the dance floor. And if you want to change things, take responsibility for the change in this world and then watch the world change. But we want to point and say, oh, you should do this. That event sucked. Why did the event suck? How could you have made the event better, even if you're not the event producer? Like,
Wow.
Yeah, go you. I think,
my God.
Activation. It's like, like you said, party started. I can fully see you in an auditorium.
Poor Hamish, he's always like, I would not come down the mountaintop if it wasn't for your crazy ass. But then also he teaches me so much about, like, I was very impatient, as you can imagine. I was very like, hurry up, talk faster, no sitting in silence, feel your feelings, hurry up, meditation, blah, blah. It's like, and he's just like, wisdom, calm down, just chill. And then I was like, do I have to be chill or can I be a firecracker? Or like, if I'm going to be spiritual, if I'm going to be a coach, if I'm going to do this work, do I have to become chill? Like, do I have to go to ashram and become chill and meditate for 7 hours? And then I did this work with Gabor Mate for 12 months. He's incredible. Compassionate Inquiry. Highly recommend it. Any healers or spiritual people that want to do work with others. Compassionate Inquiry training, 12 months. And in all of the sessions, they basically get you to feel how you, like, you might be like, I'm sick of doing everything for everyone. And then they'll go, okay, when's the first time you decided that you needed to be everything for everyone? What's your first memory of that? And they'll be like, oh God. And then like, close your eyes, just feel it. And like, they'll wait for ages for this person to close their eyes and think about the time. And it might be when they were 30. Some people have memory of young, some don't. Oh, when I was 7 years old. Okay. And what was going on for you at 7? And then they have this whole session and it takes a long time and the person's in there and then the emotion comes up and they're like, sit with that, close your eyes, put your attention on the emotion. Where is it? Where does it live? And then you're waiting for them to find where it is and you're waiting for them to sit with it. And then they sit with it and then it moves. And what does it feel now? And then you get to this place where you go, if it could speak, what would it say? What's the message it's trying to, and then it's really beautiful because they get this, and all you do is you facilitate them closing their eyes, going in, shutting the fuck up, getting in their body, finding the thing, tapping in, going to the memory, crying, allowing the tears, allow the tears. So it's a lot of waiting. And I did that because Hamish was so good at that in our coaching. Like he would just sit there and he would listen deeper. You know what I mean? He would listen for what was not being said. And I couldn't do that because I was this young firecracker, hurry up person, talking too slow. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say this. And I was wrong. Every time I was wrong. It was like, Mr. Miyagi, wax on, shut up, Erika. And I'm like, oh man, Hamish, you're so good. And then I went and did this because I was like, I have to be good like my husband because he's really good. I'm the monkey in the suit and I'll make the big show. But when I open my mouth, it's not as wisdomful as him. And he won't say anything. But when he speaks, it's like, oh, wow. One thing he says and people are like, whoa. So then I was like, I need to get better. And I went and did this training. Oh my God. When I spoke to the first teacher that I had, her name is Sataram. She's like a white lady who went to India and changed her name, wears a wrap, amazing woman. And I'm like, you know Sataram, you've probably seen her. She's, yeah. And then I was like, do we have to be like that? Do I have to be like her? And my teacher said to me, no, everybody has their own medicine. And oh my God, ladies, it set me free because I also didn't want to change my loving bitch slap firecracker. That I'm like, that's me. I'm not Hamish. I'm not that lady. But there was stuff that I needed to learn. And if I was fast and I thought I knew and very like almost like a young boy with an erection that doesn't know what the fuck to do. That's how I felt. I know that's so bad. But control yourself, child, you know? And so I was just really juvenile, but I like saw that in myself. And then I went and learned. And now I'm like, I have the slow, I have but I'm still fire. And I love that medicine. And I think we all have our medicine and there's no one way to be, but that's our job. Like Hamish is the spirit and the body and I'm the mind. And then together we try to help our clients to have that mind body integration and lead them as far as they want to go and then let them go because we're not taking them to the other side. And many of them go, you know, they go and sit in ceremony and they go, and then others go do something else. And like that part we've both said is not our dharma. Like it's not our business here. It's wake up. Do you see this? Start questioning, start asking, ask that. Okay, cool. Are we here? Hi, welcome, go. And then they decide, you know what? I'm not going to vaccinate my kids. You know what? That's bullshit. You know what? I'm not going to be in this relationship. You know what? I'm going to home birth, whatever. And I don't have to do what we've done. But when you start questioning things, you start questioning everything. Yeah. And then you start going, wait a minute, hold on. Why do I eat this? What is sunflower oil? What is canola oil? Shit, actually, this isn't good for me. Actually, my mom always tells me I should blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do that. And so not my job what happens, but we want to awaken the mind to go, don't believe everything you think. Check in with yourself. Know thyself. See you later. And then we do our job. And like, I sleep well at night knowing that we do as much as we can there. And then they meet someone else, you know, and they go off to their other journey. And like, that's the work. And so hence why I love groups of people. I just need to be on stage with as many that I can illuminate or flick the lights or defibrillate. And then I go, all right, see ya. Like I say that I like ejaculate my energy from the stage and then I'm out. And I know there's a lot of ejaculation happening in this podcast, but these are the metaphors.
That's good.
And then, you know,
you're seeding things. You're seeding.
Yeah, it just feels like I'm like fireworks on everyone. All get burned. Bye. Next town, next country, next city. Like it's a gift. Thank God that I'm here. Like, holy shit, I'm here. I am well. I'm doing this work. I have no business being here. I should be on the streets, homeless, addicted to drugs. The fact that I'm here and I am well and I get to do this work and I have the energy and I don't, say it lightly, but I love Tony because of his energy. And I am like this all the time. My poor husband here, I wake up, I'm like, good morning. And then I'm like, good evening. And then he's like, you're a psycho. Yeah. And my naturopath, who is a witchy woman and is all about perimenopause, what the fuck are you on, Erika? She's like, you don't operate in this realm. You're in some other realm. And I'm like, it's the realm of impact, and it keeps me electric. And I know the only person I know like that is Tony Robbins. I watch him and he does not have to get on stage for 52 hours. He has a lot of money. He's got his family. He doesn't have to do another date with Destiny. He does it because he gives a fuck. And you see him care, and you're like, oh, and that's like, I think he's my uncle or something. I don't know, but that's the thing that drives me. So I don't know how I got to that. Sorry, but
in that space, like, so how do you physically sustain yourself? Like, because what I hear is like, you know, with people like, as you say, like you're feeding off your purpose, like the energy of sustaining to, you know, and your whole manifesting generator. That's maybe part of that, like, you know, inner battery that's, you know, sustaining you. But how do you like physically, like, do you exercise? Do you eat? Like, because I love what you've mentioned around asking questions is involving a lot of different things, like from vaccination through to you know, questioning what you're eating and oils and things.
Totally. Yeah.
And what are your choices in that space?
So I think for me and Hamish, like I have to move because if I think of myself like electricity, it can't be stagnant, right? Like it needs to be flicked on, flicked off. It needs to be moving through the world. And so I have a very electric kind of energy. And so I have to lift heavy weights, like very heavy weights. Yeah. I don't run. And I wonder if that would be good for me or not. I do have a vibe that energetically running is running away from, and I don't want to run away from, but I move fast in my life. And so I have a practice of, I'm a what's it called? Like an external processor. So I have to have, even if it's to myself on a video, to my husband. That's why social media to me is not a drag. I fucking love talking to people. I love that I go, good morning. I'm like going to send you energy on the screen, and God knows there's bad things on that screen. Like there's so much crap on the screen. And so I'm like, if I can send good energy through a screen, I'm going to do it. I love it. For us, I think we didn't know when we had our children anything, but I had some very good angels, women that were in their 50s and 60s that I somehow connected with, who were from Warrandyte, which is like the witchy area of Melbourne. And they were just like, darling, like home birth and this. And I was like, oh, what is that? And so I'm a chick that literally at 18 said, when I have a baby, I'm going to get it cut out so that doesn't ruin my vagina. And then they can just give me like a tummy tuck at the same time. Yeah. It's like some Kardashian shit. Yeah. That's what I said. Okay. Sure. That's what they do. And that's fine. Do you, boo, whatever. But to go from that to then having the most amazing meditative home birth at home, amazing. Now my team member, Nina, who works for us, who's very young, she's 27, 28, she's going to do the same thing. And she's young and she's schooling me on all the natural remedies and things. And I'm like, yeah, you pass that down. And so we do like natural. We are very, like, we didn't baptize our kids, right? And my husband's family is very Catholic. My mom is Christian, like Pentecostal, like the women don't wear pants and don't cut their hair. Like she's more liberal, she says, whatever. But, you know, so we were like, we're not about to fight about this. Like we don't go to church. Like we believe in spirit, God, we believe all the things, but there are things that we don't believe and we don't want to do. And so we never wanted to baptize our kids like many people have done because our parents wanted that. And so I said to Hamish, like, we're not going to tell our children that we did that because Nana and Grandpa wanted us to do that. And so for my husband to be a Catholic kid, he went to Catholic school, he grew up with a Catholic, like for him to stand in that and say, no, that was rough, but you know, it had its consequences, but we dealt with it. Similarly to when the kids were little, we did not vaccinate them. So that had consequences. We were broke and we had to find money to pay a nanny for 3 hours so I could start building my business. You know, we went to McDonald's because they had Wi-Fi and we would just let the kids play in the playground so we could do work. Like things like that we did. Dr. Isaac Golden, his homeopathic, yes.
The same for our kids. He's an so it's
incredible.
Beyond, yeah.
Totally. And then I have a diplomatic, logical, yellow, green, and shamanic husband who is very shamanic and speaks to dead people and crazy shit, but he is logical as hell, the son of an accountant. And so he'll go, all right, which you know, we can't, not everything is bad. So hold on, so he always goes, hold on, babe, calm down. Cause I'm like, burn it all down. And then he's like, like, I'm gonna march. He's like, you're about to have a baby. Let's not march. Let's not march against the system right now. My midwives are like, let's calm down. And I'm just like, Rhea Dempsey birth with confidence, rah, you know? And then he's like, maybe not while you're about to have a baby. So I can get a bit, woo. And he's like more diplomatic. And I think it's really nice to have that because I'm not right and you're not right and they're not right. Everybody's right in their own way and everything's for everyone. And so as long as we're being peaceful to each other and kind, you believe in that, you believe in that. I'm not going to convince you. And I'm not here for that, that journey, that calling. Like a lot of people message me and were like, how do you feel about Trump and this and that? I'm like, I'm not here for that. I'm not a fucking newscaster. I'm not here to talk about politics. That's not my job. And I'm not interested in talking about that on social media or talking to, you know, like, that's not what I'm here to do. If I was here for that, I'm here for confidence. I'm here for women doing the work. And so everything I share will be that. I'm not talking about, I'm not getting bullied into like, what do you think about this? And you should talk about that. And it's like, no, you talk about that because you feel guilty and bad because you listen to these people and I just will block your ass. Like, how about that? If you want to do that, you go be the warrior for that. It sounds like it's important to you. You go do it. I know my calling. You know what I mean? So yeah.
That's that whole reason is, which we get, that whole reason that you just spoke about is why we started the podcast, because there are so many women out there that have this beautiful essence, you know, that's not about being quiet and still and softly spoken. It's not about that. It's about bringing your essence through, your gifts through, and sharing that with other women or other men, and just other souls.
However you are.
Living
who you are. Yeah,
you are an example of that.
Oh, thank you. No, it's important. It's like, I think you have to be who you are and you have to know what you're in. And look, I will say it's not normal, my purpose and fire. Hamish doesn't have my purpose and fire. He has what he has. And so, you know, we had to really dig into human design as we, like in the last couple of years, because things started kicking off and he was just like, I'm not keeping up with you. Like, I'm not doing that. I can't, we're not. And so we really realized more and more how he's a projector. And so perfect to have a projector in the business, you know, and like how he does what he does and what he's very good at that I'm not great at. And even in our business. So in our business, we work together. In our marriage, we're together. As parents, we're together. And so we do so much. We coach our clients together, like we do retreats together. And it's really nice because I haven't become him and he hasn't become me. We've both waved the white flag and went, you're right in some areas and I'm right. I need to learn from you. Can you teach me? So he's my biggest mentor. I'm his biggest mentor. We learn from each other and we celebrate the differences we have. And I know what he needs. Every morning he has to do breath work. Daddy has to have half an hour. If he doesn't, he's not okay, right? Like he needs that. And I need to talk. I need to talk about all the things. So you have to listen or pretend to listen to me, you know, and that helps me. And I need to plan future. I live over there. I don't live here. I'm here, but I will not do it if I can't see the future end. So I go a lot to the future and reverse engineer, and I need to go there. So you got to come with me, Hamish. And do you see it? And he's like, I'm here. So, you know, we have our differences, but it's like, we know what works and how we can be together. And it's me learning from him and him taking my energy and me taking his energy. And I feel like we've had this beautiful blend where no one's tearing and pulling. We both feel seen and heard. We both feel like we bring a lot to the table, and things he doesn't bring, I bring, and things I don't bring, he has. And it's like awesome, you know, and be able to do that with our two boys that can watch, like a powerful mom who's a boss bitch, but also very loving and kissing and touching and nurturing. And then Hamish is like a dad and he's powerful, but he's shamanic and then he cries and just all of that. I'm just like, thank goodness that we can pour this into our kids, because if those of us that have children, like we are the change, they're going to see that. So whatever you're being, if you lack confidence, they will. If you watch reality TV and talk shit about people that you don't know that are playing an acting role, by the way, your kids will be bullying people on the playground. Like it starts at home. So I just think it's the work that we get to do because they chose us, and fuck, what a choice they made. I'm like, oh God, kids, you know, and they become, that's what we're leaving on the planet. Like if I go before them or after them, sorry, as it should be, even though it doesn't always work like that, like that's the legacy. Like you go, did I make a good human? Like shit, you know?
Absolutely.
That's divine. Yeah.
So we're going to
it's either time flies when you're having fun.
I know. I love you guys. You're the best. I can't wait to see you when we hang out.
I know. We're so excited that you're coming to the in the 4th and the 6th of February.
4th and 5th, yes, 4th and 5th.
Amazing, and talking all the things. I literally just had this image of you and Hamish and your boys as an atom, like the electrons and the protons, and all this spiral weaving together, but holding each other in place, but moving, and was
yeah. Oh, I love that. That's nice because we have the yin and yang, but I don't have the kids, so now we can be a atom. That's good. I like that. I like that. New emblem.
Yeah. We're very excited to share, like, literally the energy that you're bringing into this space, Erika. It's fantastic, and like it's funny, like we've talked a lot recently around Tony Robbins and Wayne Dwyer and Louise Hay and Deepak Chopra, who have been incredible giants in activating the planet over the years, but they seem to have come to life again in people's conversations. And I don't recall many female people in that space, like people like Louise, yes, and Dolores Cannon, and there's been some amazing women, but the energy that you are creating and the activation that's in your space and the complete clarity that you're coming from.
Thank you.
And the non-censored as well. I actually adore yeah, I feel
spicy.
It is spicy. I love it.
Thank you for being you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm upset. Byron Katie, she's one that she's changed my damn life. And I had the opportunity to podcast with her and just, talk about fangirl. She came on the screen of Zoom. It's like Byron Katie. And I just started crying. And she was like, oh, darling. Like she was just, she's beautiful. And I was just like, what a sage. But there are people that I feel that we need, this world needs it. And I just, I know that the purpose is not normal because my life background wasn't normal. And I know that losing my husband and almost dying like 4 times, I'm positive that's the enthusiasm and the drive and the energy that's there. And I know many people haven't had those experiences. So, as much as I preach, I hope that a near-death experience doesn't happen to wake you up. The reality is that's what we need. That's what woke me up. It wasn't that I just decided to yawn and here I am. I broke my back and then my husband died and then I ran away to Australia and Mount Druitt and seeing Hamish and holy shit, it was all that scary, bad stuff. I got pushed to the edge and then finally had to jump. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, I haven't had my moment, I hate to say this, but maybe some bad shit needs to happen. Like something needs to shake you up out of yourself, because it's not enough to intellectually think about changing. Life will poke us. What is that? H. Alma's quote where he says, the universe will stab you on the side, and it stabs you and hurts you because it loves you. And I was bleeding out and I'm like, oh God, I'm losing a lot of blood. All right, I'm ready to listen. Okay, what do you have to say to me? So, I didn't listen to the slap or the knock or the punch. It was like stabbing and bleeding. Okay, here we go. So sometimes, that has to happen. So if you're listening to this and you're going through a dark night of the soul and your whole world feels like it's crumbling and falling over, it's good news. The evolution, the level up, the awakening is on the other side, and it won't be like this forever, is what I would say if somebody's going through it right now.
Beautiful. Love that. That's a beautiful way to close it off.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And hope you love the book.
I'm excited too. Yeah, thank you, gorgeous. Thank you.
She comes in my dreams.
Thank you for listening to our Girl Awakening podcast. We are also on YouTube as Girl Awakening. We'd love to see you there with comments on how our guests resonated with you or your own awakening. Please share the love with a like and subscribe while you're there. A blissful thank you to Ksenia Luki, the amazing artist behind our theme song. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.